journey home to your heart. Storytelling agents in America. Welcome to our home Storytopia. Asian American Storytopia. Once upon a time, Asian American Storytopia.
Hello, welcome to Asian American Storytopia. My name is Anne Shimojima, and it's wonderful to see you here with us today. Let's get started.
Namaste, greetings. My name is Roopa Mohan, and I am an Indian American storyteller. I have lived in this country for almost 40 years, but I grew up in South India, where I heard many religious and sacred stories about a very popular Hindu god called Ganesha. Ganesha has a face of an elephant with a trunk and large flapping ears and the body of a chubby young boy. And his brother is Skanda, who is tall and athletic and very different from his brother. Well, it is said that thousands and thousands of years ago, these two brothers lived with their parents, the god Shiva, god of destruction and recreation, and his beautiful wife Parvati. And they all lived in the Himalayas up in northern India. Well, one afternoon, when the boys were out happily playing, they had a surprise visitor, a wise man called Narada, who used to go around singing and visiting and often bringing gifts. And on that day, he had a special gift, a beautiful yellow golden mango, very rare in these parts. And the boys looked longingly at the mango. But Narada said, "Oh, sorry, this cannot be divided between you because it is a special fruit of knowledge and wisdom to be eaten only by one person. Now, who can I give it to?" Here is a plan. Why don't we have a race around the world, and whoever completes that first will get this reward. Well, Skanda was very happy. After all, he was the tall, athletic one in the family. He immediately called his vehicle, the peacock. All gods had vehicles to go about. And the peacock came and Skanda jumped on its back and off they went towards the horizon. And Ganesha's vehicle was a mouse. Yes, a little mouse. That was rather sleepy on that day. Ganesha was disappointed and he thought he was going to give up the race to his brother. But suddenly he had an idea. He requested his parents, Shiva and Parvati, to come and stand together. And he started going around them, seated on his little mouse. And he went, "Kutta kitta tinna tanga takuta taya tanguku 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 dittom kutta kitta tinna tanga takuta taya tanguku 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 dittom." Very quickly he had gone 3 times around his parents, and then his head bowed with lot of feeling and love. He said, "You are my entire world, my dear parents. I don't need to go anywhere. All I need is here with you. So please bless me." His parents were so touched. Parvati had a tear coming down her cheek, and Shiva blessed him, while Narada was so impressed and handed him the mango as a reward. Ganesha soon started biting into that mango and enjoying it, all the juices flowing down his trunk. Meanwhile, Skanda had finished circling the entire earth and he landed on his peacock. But when he saw Ganesha eating the mango and enjoying it, he was very shocked. He said, "What's going on? How did my slow brother win the race? I think something is wrong. I don't know what's going on here." "Calm down, son," said his parents, and explained how Ganesha had won the mango by thinking very quickly. But Skanda was very agitated. He said, "This is not fair. I have been robbed of that mango." And off he went back on the peacock, and they flew away to the horizon again. And Ganesha was very upset, but his parents told him, "Don't worry, Skanda will be back as soon as he calms down." And yes, he came back very quickly, and they all went back to being a happy and peaceful family again, living in harmony. Thank you.
Over 100 years ago, my grandma and grandpa were immigrants, and they came all the way from Japan to the United States to make it their new home. I'm Tobey, and I'm third generation Japanese American, and I live in Olympia, Washington. This is a story I usually tell at the darkest of night, so dark it's as if the sky had been ripped open and swallowed up the moon, and the only light there is that of the campfire. I'm going to tell you this story. "Miss Tobey, Mr. Brett, please don't go." These were our Malaysian friends. You see, Brett and I were moving on to another school that was in Asia, and we were so excited. "Please don't go. The magic there is so strong." Again, these were our Malaysian friends. And when they were talking about magic, it wasn't the kind that where you take the rabbit out of the hat. This was magic that involved spells and charms, very much Harry Potterish. But did Brett and myself, did we listen to our friends? No, we went, and we were so happy because in this new school, they gave us a cute little house with furniture. And there I looked in front of the road in front of our house, and Brett, look, there's a little basket with flowers in it and incense right in the middle of our road. I thought, how terrific. The neighbors were welcoming us with this little bouquet of flower. The school was a 3-minute walk from our house. And in my classroom, I had 12 students from 12 different nationalities. It was like a mini United Nations. But as the months passed, I would get these phone calls from parents. "Excuse me, Mrs. Anderson, I'm so sorry to tell you, but Tomoko will not be in school for a month. You see, she drank water with bad ice in it, and, well, she has typhus." And then I got another phone call. "Mrs. Anderson, this is Mrs. Vanderhayden, Mikhail's mother. He has amoebic dysentery, so he will not be in school for 2 months." "Oh, Mrs. Vanderhayden, don't worry. I'll get all his homework and give it to his big brother." And then my husband, Brett, he came down with hepatitis, which is a liver disease from eating bad food. And me? I got this, what I call the nondescript tropical disease. I'd be teaching away math, and then wham! I would just be drenched in sweat. I would be feverish. I'd have to sit down. "Boys and girls, let's do 10 minutes of quiet reading." And I would sit down to rest. But after 10 minutes, I was fine, and I was back to teaching my lesson. this particular later afternoon, I was walking home, and as I was walking home, I could see my house. And then I saw something glittering and shimmering on the roof. It was reflecting off of the sun. Why, it looked like a mirror. That night, I asked Brett about that. I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that. Why? Well, you know how our house is in a T-junction where the road goes directly into our house? Yeah. Well, that mirror deflects the road and bounces back out so the spirits cannot go into our house. Oh. Is that why our house, the rent is so low and we have free electricity and water? Because no one wants to rent it? Yeah. Those little baskets with flowers and incense, it's not really a welcoming bouquet, right? It's more like an offering to the spirits? Yeah. Well, I'm not a superstitious sort, so I just kind of brushed it off. The following week, Brett took off for a week-long conference to Singapore. That night, I was in a beautiful deep sleep when I woke up with the start because I could feel this presence in the room. And suddenly, I couldn't breathe. It was as if this big boulder was sitting on top of my chest, suffocating me. And I just started yelling, "Get out! Get out! Keluar dari sini!" And then the weight lifted off from my body and left. Well, the next morning, I went to talk to my friend Lestari. Jangan bimbang, Toby. Don't worry. I tell you what, it was the fat ghost, Hantu Gemuk. He was probably wandering around the neighborhood, saw that you were new in town, and wanted to pay you a visit. Well, that didn't set very nicely with me. Don't worry, Toby. I'll take care of it. So the next morning, Lestari came into my classroom with this cage. And inside of the cage was a parrot. This beautiful parrot with bright green, black, and red feathers. And I called the parrot Bonanza Jellybean. So I took the cage and I hung it in our dining room area. That night, I could rest assured I could sleep comfortably. But there was this quack, squawk, quack, quack. It was Bonanza Jellybean. I immediately left the bedroom, looked and saw that there was this gray fog going around the parrot's cage and then just went down to the ground and oozed up on top of the dining room table and went down, went up to the screen in the porch and dissipated out into the garden. The next morning, I went and saw Lestari and told her what had happened. Masala Basar, big problem. But don't worry. I will have my father's uncle's cousin come. He is a medicine man, a dukun. He will bless your house. So that weekend, Lestari came with her family and the medicine man, the dukun. And what he did was he put nails on 4 corners of the house and also nails in each corner of the room. This will tear the spirits apart. They won't dare come into your house. And then he took some charmed water and splashed it on the door. The spirits will fizzle into steam if they dare come near your door, unless it is an extra strong spirit. And then he was sprinkling me with the charmed water. This will protect you, Toby. So that night, you can bet, I felt so at ease. I'm in bed and I'm going into this deep slumber. The bed started to shake. I woke up and saw that the house was starting to sway, and I heard this moaning sound coming, and I went out and saw, of course, Bonanza Jellybean was going crazy, squawking. I look out the window, and there is this gray, misty figure with two red amber eyes where eyes should have been. And it moved from the window to the door, and the door started to shake and shimmy as if the spirit wanted to get in, and then it was silent. But then I looked down under, and through the door crack up came steam that started to come towards me and take this shape of a creature with long black stringy hair, red amber eyes where the eyes sockets should have been, mouth wide open, saliva dripping, and it was taking in all the air around me. I started to feel so suffocated until I started to go towards the mouth. And whoa, I entered into this mouth, and I just started to shrink and stretch into a thin object as it was going down into the entrails and bowels of this hideous creature, and the creature just exploded with a shriek and just melded into the air around me. It was gone. We moved out of that house into another neighborhood, a new house with new spirits.
Well, I hope you had fun and learned something new. Give us a thumbs up on our Asian American Storytopia channel and subscribe. It's free. We hope to see you again at our next Asian American Storytopia program. Until then, sayonara. That's Japanese for goodbye. Bye-bye.